LEGO sent me the 2026 modular building known as Shopping Street. This set has 3,456 pieces. It's going to retail for $250 US or 350 Canadian starting on January 1st. It comes with 7 minifigures, and at first glance I noticed something different. The box, it's vertical rather than being horizontal. Also, the geometry of this set is over the top. It's insane. You've got to check it out, so let's get right to it. There's no need to linger on the box or instruction manual for too long because, of course, we have the set on hand, but I really like this picture on the back side of the box. We have the new Shopping Street next to the 2 previous modular buildings, that being the museum and also the Tudor Corner. Make sure you stay tuned because, of course, we're going to be placing this building in the LEGO City in the very near future. Right off the hop, having a look at the geometry or shape of this set here, I get 2 different vibes. I got corner garage vibe with the building on the right, and then I have boutique hotel vibe with the building on the left. So yeah, we have 2 different buildings. The one right here in the dark orange color is a furniture shop. Then there's an alleyway between the 2 buildings, and the one right here in sand green is an instrument shop. Both buildings have a very unique shape. This one transitions from the dark orange to the dark tan with the tan accent. This one transitions into white being the primary color with the sand green windows as the accent. And we can use the 7 minifigures to create some very unique stories throughout this entire set. We'll have a closer look at those minifigures and the stories in one moment, but let's start with the exterior of the model because it is super special. Starting with the tiling, of course, the sidewalk is done in dark gray to match the other modular buildings. Mine is on a Mills plate. I decided to pre-build it on a Mills plate. We have a fire hydrant right there and also a cookie, and that cookie I believe was stolen by the pigeon, similar to the bird found within the police station. We've got some interesting tile work right back here with the dark gray, also sand blue and olive green quarter rounds. And then we have a statue, which is a cat, and then our street lamp over here on the right side. This is actually more so a chair store than a furniture store. It specializes in selling chairs. And above the tulips right there in the planter, you can see that there is a nice 2x3 printed tile. It looks like the classic LEGO chair is currently on sale. They're having a big sale. That large window right there is topped with an awning in the yellow and blue color, and then we have the angled entrance with a circular shield which has been printed with the logo of the store in gold and dark green, and I like the light fixtures on either side with those arrowhead pieces. The door is presented at an angle, and you can see there's some dark green horn elements just above the door. Here's our printed shield element. There's actually a bar running through it on the back side, and that allows us to clip it above the door to those clips. The door is actually 6 studs wide, and it's a dark brown door frame with the clear glass doors, and the handles are represented by the little rubberized horn elements there. The steps going into that building are 3 plates high, and then we've got like little handrails on either side. Not really handrails, I guess. They just sort of further define the staircase leading into the door there. Now we have our next facade, which is the instrument store. And this one here has an angled door as well, which is pretty interesting. You can see it's framed using some of those Technic pieces in sand green with some gold accents. The windows of this store are super cool. They're the 1x2x5 glass panels that have specialty print on them. So that is a newly printed element for the set. In fact, everything in this set is printed, so there are no stickers. Above those 1x2x5 glass panels are some cheese slopes mounted on brackets for the awnings, and as you can see, there is an instrument above the front door. When talking to the designer in Bill in Denmark, he actually stated that the original concept was to put the door right here, but they decided to print a new curved glass panel for this here with the title Bricksie on it. That is the name of the instrument shop, and then they actually migrated the door to the side where it currently resides. The angles presented within these structures and the way that they're actually attached to the base plate is super special. And of course, those are carried on to the next floors as well. You can see we've got a little balcony right here with the candlesticks has supports. There's also some arched elements there, and the introduction of the elvish pieces in white, which match up nicely with those arches. And that is carried over onto this window right here. Above these flags, you can see there is a planter. Then we have the sand green windows, which are really nicely framed with the arch elements, also a wheel well, and more of those elvish pieces. The windows and balconies are very nicely framed. In fact, this whole building is nicely framed with a lot of studs not on top building techniques, mostly done with brackets. There are brackets holding these curved elements on the side of the balcony in place. Also, these curved components right there, making the angles work and making it very seamless. We also have more studs not on top building techniques found on either side of these windows right over here. You can see the 1x2 rail plates, which are topped with tiles, the planters below, and some of those modified 1x1 plates with the bar coming out so that we can attach those studs with the hole just to add a nice decoration. And also the top of the window is framed with some of the wheel wells, and you can see there's a very interesting decoration in the center. That is actually one of the dumpling elements in tan, and that is just some great part usage. A lot of interesting colors packed into this model, like we're starting with the dark orange, going into the dark tan with the regular tan framing the windows. Then we have white framing the windows yet again, the dark brown, and also some gray and black blended in as well. And there is a furniture lift on the very top here because there is a story between the two different stories, if that makes sense. Also, the decoration on the top of the roof of this building is very visually appealing as well. It uses a ton of the modified 1x1 clips to mount this decoration right here, which uses two different modified 1x1s, and then that is all framed with the slopes, and it just looks really good. That brings us to the roof of the first building where we have our first story. We have that pigeon on the sidewalk. Well, there's actually a large bird feeder up here where we have another pigeon. This is built with the arches in white and also some of those like interesting architecture elements, and it's topped with the dark red slope. So we've got another pigeon up top there, along with a little garden where we have a ladybug and some flowers and a hose bib, which is topped with that little propeller piece there, and a watering can. We have the arches and the elvish elements framing these windows, and then above it changes. We have the continuation of the planter, but this one has pillars between the windows and beside the door there, but you can see how it is topped. It uses more of those modified elements that we saw in the bird feeder, but then it's topped with some of the modified 2x2 plates, also a bracket so we can mount the decoration above, and it's similar above the door as well. Also, we have the roof here, which is done with the dark blue slopes and also some 1x2 bricks that are trans clear within to make little small windows. And I like the way that those are framed with those new-ish bar elements and also the feathers, which can go into the end of them. I just think that looks super slick. I really like the way that this window is framed as well. You can see the panels on the side are actually sideways and hinged at an angle. So this can actually hinge open like so, and we can remove it as it's actually just attached to some modified bricks with the forward-facing studs. And those are hinges built into this little wall here. And we can remove them on either side to gain access to the very tight and awkward washroom within. Below those windows, we have more of the curved slopes and also the continuation of that color combination, the tan and the white. Now we have the same concept up here as well for the last window, and these panels can hinge and be pulled out, and there's an interesting story within. There's actually a cheese wedge in there, which is a literal cheese element with the print detailing, and this is actually a hideout for the rat, who's going to play a bigger part in the story of this modular building. Above that, we have more of those like handle style bar elements, adding a nice decorative touch to the cupola, which is rounded with some of the dark blue elements and also decorated with some of the mini statue elements in gold. It's topped with gold and has a wizarding wand on the very top as well. This roof has a crazy shape to it. You can see all of the wedge plates that were used to accommodate the shape of the building, and it is finished with some of the 1x2 plates, 1x1 plates, cylinders, also modified 1x1s with the hole that connect to those bar elements all the way along. We have some more windows on this side, which are 1x2 bricks. Those slopes, alternating heights in between, those are topped with cheese slopes, that being the windows, and then on this side here we have more of those modified bar elements. Believe it or not, this build does have some flat walls. We've got one right here on the side of the chair store, and that will go flush up against another modular building. It has a nice angle right here, and another angle right there, along with another angled wall, and then a flat wall on the side of the furniture store, which is pretty much solid white and sand green, and same with the wall on the side here. But most of the walls are angled, which is pretty impressive. On the back side here, we have a small birdhouse. There's also a pipe running up the side of the building to the hose bib, and also running all the way down here, and there is a bandage on the pipe. Now this is going to play into the main story. We've got some vines creeping up the wall back here, which are decorated with the green heart elements, which I think add a nice touch to the look of those plants. Some basic flowers back here, and I did Mills plate this in the same color as the original base plate. Back here we have a dumpster. I think we've seen this design in other buildings, and in the dumpster is a chair, and those are the chairs that were on sale. And here is the rat. The rat is no good. He's been actually nibbling on the pipe, which we saw bandaged over here. I think this is a great time to have a look at the minifigures. We've got the shop owner of the instrument store. There's the chair builder or furniture builder. Then we have a plumber, which will tie into the story of the rat and the drain pipe. We have some customers here. This lady has a new crutch element, which is pretty interesting. And then we have two members of a band, and this one here has a new head decoration, which is pretty nifty with that purple color, and a shield print, which can actually be seen in the town hall set. Yeah, did you see that? That shield matches the shield found above the town hall entrance. I do like the new band torso. There's only two alternate faces in this set, and those can be seen on the left here with these two minifigures. The minifigures do come with some pretty basic accessories, nothing too major. Also the alternate hairpiece, but I much prefer the band hat. This minifigure right here could be working for the furniture store as well. That's up to you. Look at that, he's transporting a chair with a really cool flipper backrest. All right, we're open for business here, making our way inside the chair store. So yeah, it's only chairs found in here, but you can choose different colors. We've got some fabric samples on the wall there, and there's lots of different chair builds found within, all of which are different from one another, which is super cool. You can see the interesting backrest on that black one there. This one here has a circular tile as the backrest. Then there's just a blue stool, and I like this one here with the hot dog as the backrest. And also some of those horn elements, and look at the little bar pieces for the legs. Also some of those like droid arm style connectors. Pretty interesting. I guess that's why it's displayed in the front window. There's just a tiny cash counter there, not much space at all for activity within this structure. It's very restricted based on the geometry that this structure has. Like, look at that. It is such a unique shape, and I think that's going to be the drawback from the space found within some of these structures, is just because they have such a unique shape. But the story is the floor is rotting. You see how the floor tiles are different? We've got dark orange, reddish brown, and dark brown rather than the dark tan. Well, that's because that pipe is leaking because of the rat. So we can remove this panel right here to reveal all of the water which is spilling out and then rotting the floor, and that's why we have the plumber on duty who's going to come here and try and fix that. There is also another panel there which we can remove, and that will better expose the water leak and the printed 1x1 tile. Now this little floor panel that we removed can also hinge right there, so you can enhance the story of the structure. For example, you could just have that hinged open and have the plumber standing there checking out the water leak. All right, making our way inside the instrument store where we have various instruments on display, such as the French horn beside another one of those band hats. So you actually get two of them in this set. That's good. So you could dress up both of your band students there, or band members. We have a clarinet, also a trombone, I believe it is, in the front window, and a large tuba. And of course you can have any of your minifigures interacting with these mini builds, so we could take them out of the set and have the minifigures holding them. And then there is a trumpet above the little tiny cash counter there. This staircase was really well built. It is super cool. You can see the different elements of the stairs that wind are actually clipped onto a jousting stick, which is pretty nice, part usage there. And part of it is sideways, like brick built as well. It's just a super interesting building technique for a staircase that I've never seen before. The geometry of this set, once again, is just mind-boggling. Although the geometry did take away from the floor space that we have within the shop, so there's not a whole lot of space to have additional mini builds within, but I think from an exterior point of view, it looks fantastic and it was worth the compromise. The interesting geometry of this set was demonstrated on the roof, the walls of the first floor, and now the second floor plate work. The way that all these wedge plates came together and all these angles work together is like so crazy. For example, I built this as plate work, then I built this as plate work, and then the way that they just came together seamlessly and were attached with a rounded 1x2 plate, it was awesome. Then built this half over here in two different sections. I built this and then this here, and the way that those were attached using some of the hinge plates, it was just so cool. Like, look at that. That is a work of art with a rectangular brick system. Making our way into the second floor, we have a continuation of the instrument store with the cymbals mounted to the wall next to the batons, above some drumsticks, and also the marching band drum, which can be put around a minifigure's neck. Then we have the conductor stand right over here with the envelope on top. And the tile work was pretty crazy, the way that they got that to work with all of the interesting wedge plates underneath. Nothing too major though. A lot of open space, a few mini builds, nothing crazy. Then we have another door right here which leads into the workshop where we have some Easter eggs such as the wooden duck build in the corner. Then we have the lady who's currently working on a chair. We've got some wood up against the wall there next to the plant, and a workbench with a vise and the chair that she's currently building. Also a clock, which references the clock shop found in the Tudor corner, I believe, on that little side table right there. And that's where our furniture store comes to an end. Not a whole lot in there, but look at the shape of it once again. Also the roof with that unique shape as well. Forgot to point out that this ladder element is supporting the flowers as well. So some good part usage there in front of the bird feeder. And then it also has, once again, that furniture hook so that she can send some furniture out of this window and hoist it down rather than bringing it down the narrow staircase. And this staircase, once again, really well done. The top stairs are actually mounted to the bar piece, and then they're held in place by the modified connector piece underneath, which sort of looks like a microphone, prevents them from overlapping. So we have even spacing with the stairs, and the first two stairs were actually brick built with some brackets, so some studs not on top techniques, and then actually built into the wall. And the staircase, surprisingly enough, isn't too tight. Like, you have full access with a door there. I've definitely seen tighter staircases. And you can see how they can actually move a little bit on the bar there. So they're like evenly distributed like so. A pretty neat winding staircase. And this staircase will lead up to the third and final floor. Nothing too crazy. We've got a small bed. It's like a single bed with a plant and a lamp beside it. Also another chair build with a little area rug in front, and also a retro radio, which is a call out to another set. There is the classic 2x2 printed bridge element right there. And then a tiny little washroom, which is sort of awkward because it's in the front window. We have a toilet in there that is built with a sign and also one of those like life rings. There is some toilet paper on the wall there and a tiny sink and a tiny 1x2 plate as the mirror. Very tight details found within these floors. But once again, with the unique shape, I think the designer had to make a compromise. Look at the floor there. So many wedge plates that just come together seamlessly. The angles just working perfectly with one another, which is pretty special. Then we have door access right there to the roof, and with the other roof removed, it better showcases this decoration right here with the modified 1x1s with the tooth and also that handlebar element. Now the primary roof panel here actually has quite a bit of height to it, so it adds like over 3 bricks of height to the modular building. Working with those angles once again with the 1x2 rounded plates and the hinge plates, and it's all supported on the underside with bricks and inverted slopes. And then we have the room for the mouse right there with the cheese Easter egg within and the cupola up top. And this is just a pretty interesting roof panel with those angles. And boom, just like that, we have fully reassembled the unique modular building known as Shopping Street. So yeah, honestly, all that and much more, I feel like I've picked this thing apart and showcased most of it, but you can't truly grasp what this model is or how it comes together unless you actually build it, because the angles and everything that you put together are like truly unique. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this in a modular building. Sure, we've seen similarities to it in things like the Tudor corner, the corner garage, and the boutique hotel, but I feel like that takes all of those and combines them into one. Plus we have fun stories, some pretty interesting minifigures, which might not be as detailed as some of us would like, I feel. I feel like maybe the minifigures are lacking a little bit. I also feel like some of the interior details are lacking a little bit as well. I mean, it's just a few chairs in there. It's just a few instruments in there. Nothing too crazy with the interior, but I feel like the exterior really just like stands out and sort of makes up for those things where this building might be a little bit lacking. It is $250 US, 350 Canadian. I feel like that's on point with the piece count. You know, maybe we could shave a little bit off the price, but we could always say that. I think this building is killer. I can't wait to place it in the city. It's going to be epic. Make sure you stay tuned for that. Let me know what you think of it by commenting below. Please remember to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for some more great stuff. And have yourselves a fantastic day. Bye for now.